This was the video that she sent to me that she wanted it to be the same, and this was what she got. This is the one that I made. Like, it came out really beautiful and snatched. Look at her, look at everything, look at the color and everything. God, I love it, and I'm making one for myself. Hello guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are doing good. So today we'll be making this two-piece. It's a two-piece Ankara dress with a net mesh, or whatever you can call it. You have the pencil part is the Ankara. You use Ankara for the pencil part, that is for the inner part. Then you now use the net to make the jacket. So it's just like a jacket and the on the other part. So here I have 3 yards of fabric. I have 3 yards, but I still have extra 3 yards in case if this is not enough. So I'll start by cutting the down part of the um gown. I'm just measuring to know the amount to fold. That is, you use the biggest part of your body, that is your hip, to measure, to know what you're folding. So the first thing, so after that, the next thing is to minus your half length to get your full length. Her underbust is 15 plus 2, that is 18 inches. So I'm marking 18 inches. Then her full length is 60 inches. This is a pencil dress, so she's tall. That's why it's 60 plus the allowance, you can make it 62. So you just get your starting point. So you also then the next thing is to get your hip location. I'm using from that her waistline, I went down by 8 inches to get her hip location. That is just your normal way of drafting your pencil skirt or your pencil dress. Then I got her round hip circumference. I added extra 2 inches allowance. Then whatever you have total amount, I took it down to her folding, to her hemming line, sorry. Then minus 1.5 inches. Next thing is to take your round waist. I added 1 inch for the dart, then also added the same 2 inches for the dart. Then connect straight to your hip, from your waist down to your hip, then your hip to your hemming line. So that is just it, just this simple. So you just want to make sure that your measurement is correct. So this is what you have. Then you do your that intake. You just use your nipple to nipple. Then from your hip point, so for you to know where your dart will stop, go up from your hip, go up by 2 inches from your hip. Then just connect your dart line. That is the way you measure your dart. So this is it. Before you cut it, you have to fold this down part. So this is the down part. So instead of you to cut it straight, you just have to slant it a bit so that you will not run shortage when you're cutting your lining. And guys, I didn't really show how you cut your lining, but your lining should be 3 inches shorter than your skirt or your gown. The lining should be 3 inches shorter. So you just cut it, place it, cut the back, notch that part, place it and cut exactly what you have. Well, remember to add your 1.5 inches to 2 inches zipper allowance. So why you slanted it is for when you're folding it, you're not going to run shortage. Sometimes if you don't fold it or you just cut it straight, you will notice that your lining will not really get to your fabric. You have shortage and all that. So for you to avoid shortage, just slant it a bit that way, then notch that part. So the next thing now is to cut the upper part. That is the next part before we now cut the upper part of the top. So here is the next part. 3 years of net will be enough, should be enough for you. I bought 4 years, but I used 3 years for her. So the next thing is, the first thing is to get your length. Her length is 62. This is longer than the this is the next part will be longer than inner one. So her net is, remember that we're going to be attaching the Ankara to the down part of this net. So her full length is 62. I'm not going to cut the net as 52. I'm going to be minusing the Ankara that I'm going to add. So I'll minus extra 12 inches to 13 inches. So when you minus 12 inches, you're going to have 50. We are cutting this as a line. We are going to be cutting this net as a line gown. So but it will not really be that a line, just to get the damper to be fuller. So to be full, so after folding your net this way, the net is 50 inches long. So the Ankara, I'll add Ankara of 12 inches to make it 62 inches long. So you just get your shoulder. Oh, sorry that I didn't show you, just your normal way of drafting your gown. So that is her armhole, that is her chest line. Get your chest line, get your hip location, sorry, your waist location. You don't need your hip location for this, because this is an A-line dress. So I use 17 inches for her waist location because she's tall. Then take your shoulder measurement down, do your armhole, get the middle of your armhole, go in by half inch for the front armhole depth. Then you just connect it. The next is to take your rhombus measurement. Her rhombus is 40.5, that is 10.0 or so. Then you add your extra 2 inches allowance. I took her waist circumference, which is 8, then I added extra 2 inches allowance to this also. So from your bust, connect down to your waist. Then from your waist, you just have to rule, look at it, you just have to measure the wideness that you want, then you connect it from like that. You are not connecting straight. Look at the way I'm placing this tape. That is how we are going to connect it slantly. So I'm just cutting this because I want the down part to be a bit round. I want it to be a bit circle, like a circle gown. So I'm measuring the length down from the waist. Place your tape from the waist to get your full length. So once you have it like that, you are going to connect this way to that ending point, to that edge point. So you're connecting this way. This way you have your net. It will look like a circle dress while it's not a circle dress. It will look straight while it's not straight. So you just have the that like that. So once you have it and we are done, voila, this is ready. You just place it to cut exactly the same thing for the back. You are not adding a zipper to this. You just have to maybe slant the back neckline a bit so that you can pass through your head. So you just cut the back armhole and that is it, guys. Like, this is really simple. So the neck width, sorry that I didn't show, I used 3 inches neck depth. The neck width is 3, the back depth is 1, then the front is 3. So this is just it. I'll just place and cut the back. Make sure you pin it before placing it to cut the back, because you wouldn't want it to, like, you wouldn't want it to separate or scatter, you know. So that is just it. You have to put another one to cut the back. So you just have to cut exactly the same thing that I have. So here I'm done cutting the back. You are not adding zipper to this. That this is so impossible. Like adding a zipper to this will be so this is the back neckline that I'm going to slit a bit for you, for it to have allowance to pass through your head. Just have to slit it a bit for it to be able to pass through your hair freely. So the next thing is to cut the front armhole and also cut the front neckline, and this is ready. So this is what we'll have and it's ready. So once you have it like this, just cut your neckline, cut your front armhole, and that is just it. So I'm just measuring for us to cut the sleeve. I measure around the sleeve for me to know the armhole. I measure around the armhole. So we are going to be folding this again to cut the sleeve. The sleeve length is total of everything is 28. So I'm going to be cutting the, and if you check the picture, it has the same Ankara. So you are going to be attaching the Ankara to that sleeve again, like you are going to be doing to the down part. So this is the sleeve part is 28, the length of her sleeve is 28, so I'm going to cut 22, then 6 inches. The sleeve will be 6 inches. The sleeve will be 6 inches, the Ankara will be 6 inches, then this sleeve, the main net will be 22 inches. So once you have it like this, once you get your length, you go down by 4 inches, connect your sleeve, then measure your armhole just the normal way you cut your sleeve, then measure how wide you want this to be. So I just want everything to be equal, I don't want it to be fitted, so I just took it down to that point. So it's just 13 inches to 12 inches wide. So this is what we'll have. It's just that simple. Your main sleeve, just your normal sleeve, then we are going to be cutting attaching the Ankara. Once you have this one, you just place it again to cut the second one. Guys, this is it. It's almost ready. So what well, after this, now we are going to be drafting the bustier part. It has a princess dart or just a straight bustier. So this is this. Just notch the center part for you to know. So here. So this is it. It's ready. So measure the whiteness for you to know the amount of Ankara, the whiteness of Ankara that you're going to cut. So I'll leave it on fold like this, then I'll determine the length. You remember that is 6, then I added, is either you add ½ inch or 1 inch for the folding. So I was trying to I want to make this double, because if you check, this Ankara is not a quality high target, so it has back and front. So for me, I don't want the back to be showing when she raises her hand, so that I still want the front, the right part to show. So I'm going to be doubling this. If you have enough fabric, you can just double it. If you don't have it, just leave it like that. So I was just checking to see if this would be enough if I double it. So I ended up, yes, cutting something that was enough. So I measured my 9 inches, or sorry, my 7 inches. And if you still this inches, sorry, this the whiteness depends on what you like or what you want. She didn't really tell me, I just went with my own assumption, and it really came out perfect. So that is just it. You are going to cut 2 pieces of this. So this one, you are going to cut 2 for one sleeve, then 2 for the other sleeve, because we are going to be because I don't want the wrong part to be showing. So that is just it. And the next thing now to do, once you have this, is to also cut the down part. So I'll fold it like this and check the amount that I have it on fold like this. I have 18 inches, so I just have to cut 60 inches wide. What I have is just 60 inches long. So after attaching it, it came out I was left with 8 inches. So you just measure it. Remember, it's 12, you add extra 1 inch, but I just had to cut 14 because I wanted it to flow very well on the floor. So I, instead of 12 inches, I added extra 2 inches to it.
Do is to get your pattern paper ready. Then after that, you take your measurement. I measure to know the amount, because of the rough side, to know the amount I'll use. If it's your off shoulder, you remove your off shoulder. Here I remove the strap. I use 8 inches. Like, you minus your strap length to get your full length, that is your half length. You minus your strap. I minus 8 inches for my strap, then I got the full length of the top, that is the underbust plus 2 inches, that is a half length. The next thing is again to minus the strap, then I minus the strap, I got the underbust. The way you minus your off shoulder to get any measurement that you want, that is what you should do here. So the next thing is to get your bust point. If you don't, you can measure your bust point, but I don't have this person's measurement, the bust point measurement. So from her underbust, I went up by 4 inches. This depends on the. It depends on your bust size. If you're on the small part, it can go up by 3 from your underbust. So the next thing is to get the chest line. The chest line that I use here is 9.5, because I use 9 for her chest line. Also, or from this starting line, you can go down by 3 inches. That is from her shoulder, you can go up, down by 3 inches. That was what I did instead of minusing it. So I just removed the down part. The next thing is to get your bust point to bust point. Her bust point to bust point is what? Plus 1 inch is 8, divided by 2 is 4, plus 1 inch. Sorry, I wanted to, so you take your bust point to bust point, take the line straight, then you rule it. Then at the underbust, I went out by 1 inch. The half length, I went out by 1 inch. The bust point, I went down by ½ inch. Then I connected the lines this way. So the next thing is to, this your chest line, at your shoulder line or your chest line, I went out by 1 inch, went in by 1 inch. Then I connected it with a slant curve. Just connect it with your curve. So the next thing is to take your round bust measurement, then connect your shoulder. This is an armhole. I took her bust measurement, then connected it straight to this, to that line there. So the next is to take your waist measurement, measure the dart, replace all the darts. You can see the way I connected my shoulder. So as to your chest line, you measure your chest line and everything. So you check the dart intake there, then you replace everything. So this is it for the front. It's ready already. So just watch to see how I'm going to cut it out. Just take the lines down to your half length. So you measure it. So for the underbust tightening, you can go to your underbust, go out by half inch, then connect it straight to your half length. At your underbust, this will give it a good fitting. Then you rule out the real line, like the main line. So this is our new line for the bust tee. So at your underbust, you go out by ½ inch, come in by ½ inch, then you replace it. You will see that the darts change. So you just replace all the darts. That is it for this, and the front is ready. Please watch to see how I'm going to cut it out. This is very simple. Please, if you don't understand this, you just drop a comment and I'll take you through it. So you just cut the side and the armhole. If you're cutting this, you don't need to add any allowance again, because you've added it already. Then the next thing, she said that she want the front to have a v-neck neckline. Then the back, it will also have a v-neck neckline. So from her shoulder line, chest line, I went down by 4 inches. This depends on how wide you want yours to be or how low you want yours. So I connected it straight. This paper is not full, that's why I cannot open it for you to see how it looks, but this is it. Make sure you notch your bust points for you to know how to join it. And this is it. Now to cut the back, you also remove the strap to get your half length. Then also remove your strap, which is 8 inches, or yours can be 9, yours can be 6. It depends on how tight you want it. So I got her underbust. From there again, I got her chest line, her underbust, which is not necessary, but I just cut all the lines. Then I trimmed down the excess, her chest line and everything. So I did her nipple to nipple, also connected it with a straight line. Then at her underbust, I went out by half inch in, ½ inch out, instead of 1 inch, just to connect a straight that you don't need to make this place to have one. So at her chest line, I went out by half inch instead of 1 inch. So this will be very okay. So I measured her bust, her round chest, her round waist. Then I added the same allowance of 1 inch. Then I connected it the way I also connected the front part. Then this is what we'll have for the bag. It's just simple. Please remember to add your zipper allowance, which I'm going to add it on the cloth if I'm cutting it out. I wanted to use a loop for a lace the back, but yeah, I still went down by 4 inches for the V neckline, which I brought out the zipper allowance side, but yeah, I didn't trim it out. But I said I was going to add it later, or use a loop for the back. Well, I later used, which came out very well. So you just cut out the back. So this is the back neckline. It's also V. So you add zipper allowance if you're cutting it out on your fabric, or you can cut it with. So I decided to add the zipper allowance here, so I had to cut the center back again. I brought out 1 inch for the zipper allowance. Then I extended the V neckline to that zipper allowance. Then everything is just equal and the same. Just do the same thing. Then this is it, not your zipper part. And this is, please, you have 2 pieces of the center front. Then I did. So I'm not joining the dart for the upper part. Here is the dart. Sorry, I didn't know that was, she called me, she told me she never wanted me to pad it, but she later called me that I should pad it. So I've added my wording, and this is how the inside looks. Sorry that I didn't really get this part. So I've joined my dart. I gave it a good press. So this is what I have. So this is how it looks, and I've joined my lining also. Then the back also, this is the back, how it will look. There's 2 pieces for the back, and I also have my lining. Then my strap, her strap length, you have to take your bra measurement to get your strap length. If you have a bra that sits properly on you, that is very okay on you, just have to take your tape and measure the strap of the belt. That is the hand of the bra. So if it sits perfect, that means your sleevelet will sit. So I measured her bra strap, and this is I have 17.5. So after turning it, I'm going to place it like this. I iron this place that has strap flat. So I'm going to place it like this, place it on this bra dart line, on this dart line. Then I'll get the lining, also place it and make sure that the dart matches, and I'll stitch it. Also stitch the neckline, then um notch it and top stitch. Also do the same thing here. Once you have it joined to the front, you also get the back also and join. Make sure you place it very well. Make sure that everything is placed very well. So you also do the same thing here. You also do the same thing. Then shape it to your waist measurement. Shape the bust, and that is it for this. So this is the skirt. I'm done joining it. I'm done joining the lining, because sorry that I didn't show how to cut the lining. But I said that the lining should be 3 inches shorter than the main fabric. So when you have it 3 inches shorter than the main fabric, you will have your main skirt like this. You have your main fabric looking like this. So I've joined the zipper allowance, and I've shaped it also. So this here is just the zipper allowance. Then I've gone ahead to hold my dart. So this is it. I'll join the dart and join the sleeve, shape the upper part, then attach it to this lower part. And that is it for this. Then I'll do the other one and show you guys the outcome. Just that simple and easy. And guys, please, if you have any question, don't forget to drop a comment. I'll go through it and respond.
So here I'm done I've attached the sleeve, then I've also attached the Ankara to the lower part. So for the neckline, you can decide to use bias or also use the same net to turn it. I use the same net. I prefer using net to turn it instead of bias. So here is the sleeve. Look at the way it's looking. And also I'm done joining the down part to the, and I've attached my zipper also.